And so I want to talk to you tonight about spiritual family, but I'm going to start by telling you about firewalking. I have been to 12 firewalks, and I have walked 8 times. And I promise you that the story I'm about to tell will lead back to spiritual family. What I noticed is when I'm at a firewalk and my feet are at the fire, my job is to ask myself, is this mine to do? And the only time I walk is if my mind, body, spirit, everything about me says yes. It's this huge yes. And what I notice is if I walk, when I get this huge yes, I have never gotten a mark on my foot. Now, I have spoken to others who have walked and have gotten marks on their feet. And many have walked because they thought they wanted to overcome their fears. Or they walked because they thought they should. Or they had other reasons. But it wasn't because they heard and felt that yes, that it can be so strong within us when we know there is something that is ours to do. And so what I learned from firewalking, I started taking into the rest of my life. I started looking around at my world and going, how does this apply? And I started noticing that if I asked myself that question and I didn't get that full answer, I didn't do it. But when I did, I made sure that I did do it. And then all of a sudden, my life started taking on a course that was much closer to what I had ever imagined my dreams to be, even though it went in directions I would have never imagined. But I started following that course. And what I also noticed is that the closer I was to my feet being at the fire in terms of making a decision, the more accurate that voice became. And so, back in December, I awoke with an idea of an online spiritual community, a family where people from every corner of the world could reach out to each other and be supported by each other. And I knew that it was mine to do. And I had this vision of us coming together on Wednesday night and maybe some other times to have real live discussions like this, where we could get together and see each other or get together and chat online or however people needed to come in so that they could be a part of a conversation and then ask for support if they needed it. That this could grow into something so large that no matter what time of day somebody needed support, there would be others around to give that. And no matter what time of day others wanted to give support, there were others around to receive it. Because it was a global thing. And I knew it was mine to do. And then I started calling around. And I found that others had a calling for this too. That it excited them, the idea of a global community created online. And that each person who came to it had a different feel for what it was they wanted to bring to this. And so that became important, what others wanted to bring to this. Because this can be anything we want. We're at the beginning of creating this. So we get to make this into anything we want so that it fulfills the needs of anyone who shows up. And so what I'm asking tonight is for you to come into the conversation and speak to what it is you want to see in an online spiritual community, an online spiritual family, so that you can feel supported, so that you can offer support. Because in the end, the nurturance takes all 3 sides. We want to build a community where we are nurturing ourselves, where we are learning how to nurture ourselves in a good way. We're learning how to nurture others in a good way. And we're learning how to receive nurturance in a good way. So what I'd like you to do now is close your eyes. Take a deep breath and relax. And see yourself on a path. It is the perfect path. See yourself walking along this path. It may be in the woods. It might be on the beach. It could be up in the clouds. It doesn't matter because it's your path, and it's the perfect path. Notice how it feels. Notice how it smells. Notice how it tastes. Notice how your feet feel as you walk along. It should feel perfect, just the right amount. And now find yourself coming to a clearing. And it is the perfect clearing. It is your perfect place to be. The temperature, the sights, the sounds, the smells, the tastes. And there's a chair there. And it's the perfect chair. The exact chair you would want it to be. Feel yourself walk over and sit in the chair. Take a deep breath and relax deeply into this chair that surrounds you with the perfect amount of support. As you take in your perfect place to be. And in this place, ask yourself, what does an online spiritual family look like to me? What does it feel like? What's being done? How is it working so that it supports me and so that I am able to support others? What would the perfect online community, family look like, feel like, act like? And now ask yourself, what would it take to fulfill this vision? Now ask yourself, what would I need to become to fulfill this vision? Be a part of this vision. And now ask yourself, is there any additional information that would be helpful for me at this time? Now thank yourself. for your answers you received. And when you're ready, open your eyes. So for those of you without webcams or microphones, please feel free to type in the chat and tell us what came to you that you'd like to share, because I'd really like to know. And who in the room would like to share? Who'd like to go first? Julie?
I'm still feeling meditative. That was nice going to that place. What came up for me was a couple of things. I mean, I think what we're doing here is already a manifest of that. But what I saw was, it was kind of like a chat room, you know, similar to Facebook, where we just have an access, I don't know, 24 hours a day. I don't know what that is, but that's getting into particulars. And just for people who want to have a talk, or if somebody's having issues, and someone can be there to support. This goes back to that nurturing thing that or those 3 nurturing questions that we had earlier. So that could be that type of vehicle for that. So that was the main thing that came up for me for that. I like what's happening here. I like the conversation where we actually have, where you present a topic and then we talk about it and we share about it. I really like that frame of conversation and gathering. I like that way of doing things a lot. So that was the main thing that came up for me.
So Julie, I have a question about that, because I've been looking into doing that, actually setting up a chat community similar to Facebook, but having its own space. It's not Facebook, but it's something similar that has its own place that would be just for our community. And so that's really possible to do, and I've actually already checked into the technology to do that. So you think that would be worthwhile?
That's what came to me, and I think that would be exciting. I didn't realize you'd already been doing that. I didn't even know if that was possible. So that's great to hear.
Yeah, it's very possible. And it was going to be something more tied into once we started having classes and stuff, but it could certainly be set up before that. That's great. That's great to know that came to you, because it's certainly been in the mix. That's great.
That's awesome.
Leslie talks about setting up a closed group on Facebook as a forum for sharing. We could do that as well. Do you think that would work as well as setting it up in an entirely different framework outside of Facebook, Leslie? I'd like to know more of your thoughts on that. Type more, please.
Well, let me ask a question, Cliff. Being that, you know, Facebook is already set up, would it be easier to do that on Facebook? To set up a closed group on Facebook?
Well, one of the things you can do, one of the things that the technology I've been looking at is that we can do that. I mean, if we're on Facebook, we're kind of stuck within Facebook parameters. This other technology, right, we get to set the parameters. And so it has a flexibility in terms of how we set up groups and groups inside groups, so that, you know, it has its own, becomes its own closed system that we can then spread out. So for instance, if we do it inside of one group, right, then it's only one group. But if I do it inside this other thing, we can have as many, you can have the big group that then breaks off into little groups. And it could also be done with Google Hangouts. But I think that this other technology I'm looking at has a larger scope in terms of how you can use it and post pictures and do things of that nature with. So who else had something come up for them around the idea of creating spiritual community? Reverend Linda?
I said that my visioning was colored by today, my experience today and last night. I attended the funeral of an 18-year-old that I had known since before he was born. And I don't know that lack of community is what led to his passing, but I know many others in his situation, lack of community would have been a major part of it. And especially those kids who are different and don't fit in, finding a community online that they do fit in with, that they do relate to, something being out there to let them know they're not alone is so important.
Yes,
and I don't know how we do it or how we fit into that. I just know it's important that we take whatever steps we can. This young man was probably even as a small child, was one of the most intelligent people I had ever met.
Sometimes the special ones who decide to check out because they can't find any of like mind. And so this could be huge for people of all ages. David talks about gathering the elders. And one of the things that I have learned about society and history is that there was a time when teenagers and elders were the two most valued members of society, where a teenager was given a rite of passage, and so important to help them enter adulthood. And then elders were given, they were the story keepers. They were the ones who people went to for knowledge. And in our society, teenagers are given the least attention, and elders are given the least attention. It's kind of gotten a little backwards, and so there's a spiritual awakening around teenagers and elders that's just so important in our society. And we can be that. Because I've done a lot of work with teenagers, number one. And number two, I am huge on the fact that elders are our story keepers, our wisdom keepers. And so I would love for folks who are interested in those lines to step forward and help us develop those lines. David, if you're interested in developing Gathering Elders, I would love it if you were interested in having a conversation with me on how you could help develop that. If there's somebody amongst us who wants to help develop gathering teenagers and developing a teenage community, I would love to have that discussion on how we can go about making that happen, because they're incredibly important groups, and I would support that wholeheartedly. Uncle Dave.
I think it's a great idea that when I hear about the disenfranchised and people like that, it reminds me a lot of my son, who was just so smart and had so many interests, but he was the football, basketball, baseball kind of kid, and how he was, kind of bullied in a way. And I remember that we took him to Unity, and he just sort of connected with older people and loved the stories and how things were. And he really came around to that. So I think it's a great idea, getting maybe two communities together, that he could have maybe look up to a peer group. That's what he liked. And maybe there's kids out there that need it. Just somebody older to mentor them. That's about it. But as far as personally, I think, what I like from the group is just the collectiveness that we have here. I'm just the wisdom we have. I just come for it every Wednesday. I enjoy it.
I think creating a midweek pick-me-up where we can come together and share ideas and share our thoughts and our wisdom with each other is an incredible beginning. And for me, it's only a beginning. I mean, I see this as something that can grow into so much more, where we can have different groups. I mean, this room, this format is available to us all the time to use in as many different ways as we want. And so for as many people as want to step forward and find different uses for this technology or other technologies that we can add to it, I am so wholeheartedly for it. I am a pragmatist. I am not doing this for the fun of it. I'm doing this because I want to affect real change in the world, affect and impact transformation on this planet. So as folks come up with ways that they believe have real impact, I am all for it. Who else would like to share around this? Dave is talking now. I think there is some significant, oops, it's going so fast I can't get it. Some significant healing to be done with many discussions. I feel strong about the need for balance between masculine and feminine, storytelling shared between elders and teens. And then Mariette's just getting the hang of this right now and just coming off a virus, so maybe you should share next week. That's great. I appreciate you showing up, Mary. I appreciate it so much, just having you present. I agree with you, David. I think that, you know, there are many discussions for healing to be had here, and each week there'll be a different one. This is just the one for this week. Every week we have a different topic we go through on this. Storytelling between elders and teens, I think, is a fabulous idea, Teresa, or Nancy, which either one of you were sharing about that. There is a brilliance in vision, and there is a brilliance when we take steps to move forward to create vision in all our lives. And one of the ways in which we can fully support each other is in all our visions here. Not just the vision for this community, but in the way the community supports the individual visions of each of you. So I would love, since we have the time, for each of you to take a couple of minutes to state what is your vision for your life that we can hold for you. Who'd like to go first? And tell us the vision for your life that this community can hold for you. Julie.
Well, my vision for my life right now is completing ministerial school and moving forward in my ministry. And that is yet to reveal itself in the way that it will move forward. But I feel that right now is just stepping into what is presented in front of me and just completing school.
We'll hold that for you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Reverend Linda.
I am at a point of change and transition in my life in very many ways. And yet my vision and my mission is to reveal the wholeness that is truth, the truth for all who I come in contact with. And that continues to be my mission and what I am to do on this planet, wherever I am.
We will hold that for you, Reverend Linda. Carol.
Okay. My vision is to connect with other like-minded people, and wherever the need arises, to share spiritual bonding, knowing that we are all one in God, and connecting with people in that way so that maybe I can bridge things that have been separated before. Whether it's in my work, whether it's in my relationships, whether it's in my family, whether it's with people I meet every day. I just want to make a connection to and be a reflection that we are all one in God.
Thank you, Carol. We will hold that for you.
Thank you.
Dave, you want to share your vision?
This is to just stay connected with the group, and I think a lot of times I can just shove things aside and just be very self-centered and just want to cup in a ball, so to speak, and not get involved. But I really want to change that this year. I want to get more out with people, hear ideas, and the more I do, the better I feel through the week. I read on Facebook page what the topic was this week and started to think about it. And something to think about, elevate my thinking beyond the mundane things of what we have to do for work and the day to day, because it just keeps me going. It gives me something to think about, really. Day to day. It's not real deep right now, but I'm sure as the group goes along and the involvement comes, the thinking changes and deepens. And I know right here I'm on the technical end of it and I'm pushing buttons and things, but it's really just good to listen. Just listen. That's what I look forward to. Wisdom.
Anybody from the chat land, please, Kelly or Dave, Leslie, Mary. We can certainly know help for you, Mary, if you'd like us to. Teresa or Nancy, Leslie. Type in what you'd like us to know for you. Teresa, your vision is to teach spiritual principle. We will hold that for you. Mary, my vision is for myself is to learn to follow my heart and listen to that voice inside. Nice. And share my story and encourage others to share theirs so that others will be encouraged and inspired. Showing how we can become a better people personally and in the world. Mary, we will certainly hold that for you. My vision of my life this year is to learn to love myself. Nice, Leslie. We will hold that for you. I'm seeking peace in my thoughts. We will hold that for you, Kelly. Nancy says to find the perfect home. We will hold that for you, Nancy.